Hi, this is Shawnee Daigle. I'm the broker associate of Champions Realty Team, brokered by eXp Realty. And today I have a very special guest for my first podcast. I'm really excited. If you're in real estate and you're looking to establish authority and authenticity, you want to look no further than Hollie Kitchens. She brings her skills in branding and online presence building. Hollie is the co founder of Sizzle Media, an authority agency helping business owners to stand out. So, a very warm welcome for Hollie. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Shawnee. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be on your podcast, and thank you so much for thinking of me.
Oh, no problem. So, tell me a little bit about how you got started, Hollie.
Okay, girl, it's a story. So, I actually got started in real estate back in 2009 is when I had an interview with a guy named Jay Kinder to work at his team. And in 2010, early 2010, I got my license to sell real estate. I'm super grateful that that was the very first team I've ever been on, and really the only team I've ever been on. And that's kind of where I started the real estate journey. But it's so funny because back then I was so scared of being known. I was so scared of putting myself out there, which is so crazy to think because as real estate agents, we know that we've got to be our brand. We are the brand and we've got to
Absolutely.
differentiate ourselves from other people. But I was so scared because the way I grew up with a very small town mentality. I always associated negativity with like bullying and like that was attention, right?
Right.
And it's unfortunately spilled into adulthood because I didn't know any different. And I remember I loved being on Jay's team because I got to hide behind Jay's face. Jay's face was on the billboard, Jay's face was on the signs. It was everywhere. It was like a dream come true. I got to play behind the scenes and connect with my clients, but I also didn't brand myself. And it's actually funny though
Right.
because they actually had encouraged us to build our own brands and to obviously have our own sphere. And finally, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this. It was called flip phone. I don't, a flip camera. It was
Mhm.
before iPhones were there. So, like, you had to actually have a camera, like a separate camera than like your
Right.
iPhone. And I went and I did like a virtual tour. And this was before, obviously, pandemic back in 2010. And I did this virtual tour of new construction. I uploaded on a platform that's YouTube. Is
Mhm.
before YouTube, you could buy, ads and stuff like that. Well, I uploaded there and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try this. So about a week later, I was like, I wonder how that video did. I clicked on it and I just remember like it was yesterday. There was like 30,000 views
Oh my
on this
God.
one video that I did. And it was just an open house. And instead of like maximizing that and saying, oh my gosh, I got to put some more content out, I didn't
Mhm.
understand the content game back then. I instead not only deleted that video, I deleted my entire YouTube channel because I got freaked out.
No, no.
Yes, and I'm telling you this because, it's so funny because right now, I'm a brand strategist. I help people get known and become known in their entrepreneurial space. And
Right.
I'm saying this because anyone tuning in and you're thinking like, "Oh, well, it's easy for her to get featured or it's easier for her to be on podcast because she's a brand strategist." Just just so you all know who you're talking to, I was this small town girl, super scared of being known, super scared of a camera, people knowing who I was. And then fast forward to 2016-ish, I had launched a boutique for rock and roll concert goers because I
Mhm.
love music. And then I was thinking, you know what? It's always hard for me to find clothes that I want to wear to this concert. Why not create a shop where other girls can come and purchase clothes as well?
Oh, that's
So
pretty
I
neat.
started that, yeah. So I kind of started that as a hobby and I hired just like anybody else that wants to do collapse time, I hired a coach. And my e-commerce coach was like, okay, so what are you doing differently than Target or Amazon? Because you can go to both of those places, get a Guns N' Roses shirt for $12.
Right.
And why are they going to spend 3 times that amount on your online only store? And it really kind of hit me hard because I was like, well, why would they? Because like me personally, I would go to Target or Amazon, a trusted retailer, than
Right.
somebody else, upcharging times 3, right? And
Right.
I think, it was a simple question, but it was one that really resonated with me and really propelled me to where I am today. And that was, I'm the difference. Target
Right.
doesn't have me. Amazon doesn't have me. No one has me but me. And that's when I was like, okay, that was the decision. Like in my career, I'm like, if I really want to be a business owner, if I really want to be an entrepreneur and be out there, I need to put my big girl pants on and I need to show up as one. And
Right.
at that point moving forward, that's when I was like, you know what? I could launch a podcast. I can interview musicians at concerts, again, creating that community, invite my customers to contribute questions or throw ideas of who I should interview next. And that was really kind of like my branding journey. I had no idea what I was doing back then. It was so funny. Like I would have this awful setup. The quality, audio was awful. And I was too busy on like the aesthetics of how it looked
Right.
than actually the production of it. But it really helped me kind of realize the importance of building a personal brand. And that's why I'm super excited to talk to you today because a majority of my clients are real estate agents. And I think as real estate agents, we fail to brand ourselves. We're too busy
Absolutely.
amplifying either our brokers or brokerage or franchise or whoever, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I love the brokerage that I'm at, same one as you. But what's going to differentiate you from the next person at the exact same place? And I think people have got to start understanding what they bring to the table and how they need to purposely put that out in the form of content to their listeners and really attract people they want to do business with.
Absolutely. And I've been in this business like 17 years. Um, Never been afraid of public speaking, but just didn't really put myself out there like that.
Mhm.
I was too busy with all the other things in real estate. And I guess somewhere in the back of your mind, you're, like you said, caught up on the aesthetics of it all.
Yeah.
So definitely that was one of my goals for 2022 is to start doing more of it because even with my agents that are under me, that's something that I'm starting to encourage them to do more because I notice there are a lot of agents. There's more and more people getting into the business
Mhm.
and they don't have a clue how to set themselves apart. Um, and of course, when you've been in business a lot of years, your referral business is very good. But at the same time, being able to stand out in the sea of agents, because there are a lot of them, you do definitely want to take advantage of differentiation. So, yeah, absolutely. If you could go back in time and give some advice to, say, your younger self when you first started, I know you said definitely you would sort of get out there more, but is there anything else that you would recommend that new agents do?
Oh my gosh. Well, I wouldn't go back. If I go back, I would not delete my YouTube channel because who knows? I could be some big YouTuber now.
Right. There you
No,
go.
I'm just joking. Really, I would say having a clarity on like why you're hesitating to put yourself out there. And of course, like you said, for you, it's not that you were scared to do it. You just didn't make the time to do it because you had other things going on.
Right.
So everyone's going to have their own different reasons why they're not putting themselves out there. And if I was to go back and tell myself, and for me, that again, it was going back and I was so scared of like what people were going to say or negative comments or, bullying. And I know that sounds silly as an adult to be scared to be bullied, but
Right.
it was a fear of
Reality.
mine. It
Yeah.
was a true fear of mine. And I think one thing that's really kind of helped me put myself out there even more was understanding the intent of where those people are coming from.
Right.
So, for instance, like my mom, if she was to comment some criticism on something I did, my mom would be coming from a place of love,
Right.
right? So, even, if it was right or wrong criticism, good or bad criticism, either way, she's coming from a place of love versus some internet troll there's a good chance it's a 12-year-old on the other end of it. They don't have my best interest at heart. So, like, it was just kind of like understanding that filter and saying, you know what? The great news is I'm not a brain surgeon. No one's going to die from what I do.
Right.
Worst case scenario, I go viral because I look stupid. That's actually the best case scenario, as we all know, because viral things like people become, you know, that's how they get
Overnight
their name
famous.
out there.
Yeah.
So it's understanding. If I was to go back and say something to my younger self, it would be really understand the intent instead of just getting offended or hurt or even scared. Because what's so funny is like, that also none of that stuff happened. I was so scared of what ifs. What if someone makes fun of me? What if someone does a negative comment or what if whatever? What if I stutter or what if something goes wrong? And in reality, none of that stuff even happened.
Right.
So it's understanding, okay, first off, what's current reality and what's made up in your head, but then
Right.
also if something is to come at you, what's the intent of it? And should you really truly listen to that feedback or should you
Mhm.
dismiss it as it's not anything you should pay attention to?
Absolutely. So in October of last year is when I brought my brokerage over to EXP.
Yeah.
When you did you start at anywhere else first, or EXP was your first place with Jay?
So Jay was this was before EXP I think was even around. So it was back in 2010. So Jay was with Coldwell Banker, then he
Okay.
went independent. So he's actually been the only person I kind of followed around in real estate. So I guess Coldwell Banker, independent, and then EXP because I followed him to EXP as well.
Okay, awesome. So when you all went to EXP, was there what type of support did you receive? Was there anything that really helped you expand?
You know what's so crazy is like it was almost too much support, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It
Mhm.
was just like, whoa, it was like, information after information after information. And it was incredible to see because again, I was very, very grateful to be on Jay's team. So it was always easy for me to go in and get access to him or his dad, who was the broker at Coldwell Banker, finding questions.
Right.
However, now we are living in this digital world. Like back then, you would drive to the office. I mean, that was even when you would send faxes back in the day, right?
Right.
But we live in a day and age where it's digital. And I think one of the best support that I found was literally having access to anyone from accounting to HR to my broker at my fingertips and just
Right.
a click of a button. And it's just crazy to think you don't have to book a meeting or do anything else. You just hop in the cloud, you go grab a ticket, and you get in line to speak to your broker. And
Right.
that's what I really enjoyed that. And it's also to, with the collaboration of our community, I know you're at Honey Badger, like that culture of collaboration, not even just EXP brings, but the Honey Badger Nation brings. I mean, like you'll see someone post in our group. I mean, we have what, over 9,000 people in our group.
Yes.
Somebody will post something, like for instance, Levi, he had posted, I think it was like last year or so, he had posted about him, hey, I got a new construction, client. I've never done new construction. Who can help me? He landed 55 new construction homes within a week because he pulled pieces
Wow.
from all the collaboration and landed a huge project. So I think the support is all the way around. Obviously, EXP is amazing. It's great to have that support at your fingertips. But I think too, also when agents are considering the model, just like any other franchise or any other group that you're joining, it's super important to know who you're actually signing up to collaborate with because EXP, again, amazing. But until you understand the model of it, the
Right.
model is if you win, they win. And a question to people who are thinking about it, who is they? Is it somebody that's
Correct.
going to actually help me win?
Help you. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I was kind of blown away by. When I first came into the business, I worked under a brokerage called ERA.
Uh huh.
And one of the things that is prevalent in real estate is a lot of these big companies is sort of dog eat dog world.
Hmm.
And so when I started my own brokerage, I wanted more of a family atmosphere. So I kept my brokerage small, like a boutique brokerage, because I didn't want any of that, I'll say, negative competition where
Yeah.
it's like people are really fighting against each other. And so when I looked at EXP, it actually took me 2 years to come over.
Yeah.
Uh, but when I came over to EXP, truly I was blown away by the honey badgers. And the reason being is because everyone was so helpful. Like there wasn't a person I couldn't call that wasn't happy to hear from me, that wasn't happy to help me, point me in the right direction. I not only do real estate, but investing and building. No matter what area of real estate you're interested in getting into, there's always
Mhm.
someone who has been there, done that, and is willing to hold your hand and show you the way. So that's one of the things that definitely, you know, impressed me about EXP. And like you said, a lot of people don't realize that there's different lines in EXP, and it does matter who you join under. I met Jay Kinder, had the opportunity to meet him and Michael Reese, and they both were wonderful guys. I mean, you would think someone at their level would be kind of standoffish, but they were immediately, hey, how you doing? Brought me in, and it's like, if there's anything we can help you with, gave me their cell phone numbers. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it
And,
was like
it's,
immediately at home.
that's what I love about working with these guys. I mean, I've been working with them, what, 12 years now. in a capacity because, I mean, those guys will give you the shirt off their back, even if they just met you. And I think that it's so important to understand who you're truly aligned with the big picture in mind. You can't just say, oh, well, this person's offering me this, get rich quick or whatever type thing. They legitimately have established themselves with their proven repeatable systems. So it's not even just the knowledge that they bring to the table, it's also just the community, because everyone that's attracted to them are abundance mindset people. And
Right.
that's the group of what we have. And I love being part of it.
And the training, a lot of people don't realize the level of training with EXP, but even more so with the honey badgers, how we have
Mhm.
our own separate training that people would normally pay
Yeah.
thousands for, that we get it for free. So yeah, it's definitely been eye-opening, and I wish I wouldn't have waited 2 years.
Hey, but you know what though? You are at the place to willing to accept that information. And I think too, everyone listening in, if you're on the fence or thinking about it, it's understanding too, you're not ever too late for it.
Right.
It's not too
Very
late.
true. Very true. So is there any, I guess, information that you would like to share with agents that may find themselves struggling right now, just in real estate in general, not necessarily with EXP, but just with realtors who are having a hard time finding their niche or their, what gives them their shine?
Yeah, I would say really examine the people who you love working with and then build out that client avatar through them. Because I know we've all worked with somebody that we're like, yes, I can't wait to show them houses. But we've also worked with people that were like, oh my gosh, you sit there and look at your phone while they're calling you, like trying to make yourself sound happy when you answer the phone.
Yeah.
Understanding those dynamics and what makes you not want to talk to those people, and what makes you want to talk to the people that you want to talk to. Maybe it's like, for me, I'll give a classic example. For me, it's investors. Investors are just not my jam. I have
Okay.
so many investor friends, but driving around looking at these like homes that
Dilapidated.
just wasn't my jam.
Right.
Versus, like, I loved single family, like brand new residential first time home buyers, because I love
Mhm.
going through the educational process with them, telling them all about home ownership, helping them get that American dream of owning a home and owning property. Now I have friends on the flip side. I have friends who love their investors and then they absolutely do not even want to work with first time home buyers.
Right.
So I would say really understand what is it or who is it that you really enjoy doing and working with, and then where can you maximize that profit, right? So understanding, like, if I'm in a market of, between 250 to 300 to, then there's a luxury market, like where am I going to be at? And then how do I have to show up? And I think that's a good question I always ask to my clients too when I first take them on, is like, how do you want to show up online? And obviously you want to show up as yourself, but your
Right.
best version of yourself, right? No one wants to go
Correct.
online looking like a fool or looking silly. So how do you want to show up online and then become that person? And that's no different in real estate. How
Right.
how do you want to be as a real estate agent? And then what do you got to do to get there? So like you mentioned the trainings, right? So
Right.
certified home buying associate, certified home buying advisor,
Mhm.
certified home selling advisor. Those are two credentials that'll help you educate your first time home buyers, right? So if I
Right.
was to say, I really need to focus on this individual type of clients,
Right.
what training do I need to become to be the best at that? And really pour yourself into it. And then taking it a step further and making sure the world knows you're the best at that. Making sure the world knows that you're the best at first time home buying process. And then every piece of content I put out there connects back to that avatar, because I'm speaking to that
Right.
avatar. I don't want to speak the language of investors. I want to speak the language of first time home buyers. And
Right.
so, like, going through there and talking about, inspection reports, or going through there and diving into the KCM reports and letting them know about the rising of home prices, or how to win out multiple bids, competitions and stuff like that. It's really identifying what you really enjoy doing,
Mhm.
really getting crystal clear on how can I make the most out of that situation, and then investing. I mean, people to get to the point to be the best, you have to invest to be the best. And I think
Absolutely.
so many people want to just, wing it or try to find free resources. There's a reason why people hire coaches. And I'm all about, hiring the best coaches you can to get to that point. So again, who do you need to hire? Who do you need to be surrounded with? And then what kind of content do you need to go to be known as the go-to person?
Okay, awesome. And then for those of you that don't know, Holly definitely has her own podcast. I think it's Unleash Your Inner Legend.
Yes.
Holly, do you want to tell them right quick about your podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's so funny because as I was doing the music interviews, I was kind of thinking like, why can't I just interview like rock stars in the entrepreneurial space? Like it's the same formula, right?
Right.
So I literally copied and pasted that format, but with entrepreneurs such as Sharon Letcher, who was co-founder or co-writer of Rich Dad Poor Dad. I've interviewed Jasmine Starr, Roland Frazier, even put in some people like Third Eye Blind and stuff like that on the podcast. But it's really helping people understand that like you've got to unlock your inner legend. You've got to identify that and then just become it. And speaking with these people who are extraordinary, but then also talking about their ordinary journeys, because everyone at the end of the day wake up, they put, the pants on the same way. We're all people. So it's dissecting their success and the choices, their habits that really got them to where they are today.
Awesome. Well, Holly, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this podcast. And to anyone who is looking for someone that is phenomenal to help grow your business, definitely Holly is the best. Holly, if you want to give them a way to contact you, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just on all social media platforms at Hollie Kitchens, HOLLIEKITCHENS. And then also, too, you can just head over to holliekitchens.com and find ways to connect with me. And I'd love to hear from you guys or, connect with you on a social media platform as well.
All right. Thank you, Holly. Hope you
Thank
have
you
a
so
great
much.
evening.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.